Okay class, this is exam practice 2, paper 2H and 3H just combined, and this is going to really help you revise. Use a calculator. Do use it to double check your working, but make sure if you've got a 3-mark question, have 3 lines of working out still, because students always miss out on effort marks. Right, this is going to be very zoomed in, so that you can see this on your mobile phone. So they're similar triangles. Work out the length of DF. You can see these are the matching sides here. That side matches with this side. So we find the scale factor. We want to do 15 divided by 6 is going to be the scale factor from here to here. Now use your calculator if you need to, but that's just going to be 2.5. So D to F, so it's that, so you're just going to need to do 4.2 times 2.5. That's going to equal 10.5 centimetres. That is an easy 2 marks. Question B is work out the length of BC. So BC, you're going this way to this way. So if this way was times, this way needs to be divided by 2.5. So 19.5, do your working out. 19.5 divided by 2.5 equals 7.8. And just a reminder guys, finding a scale factor is worth a method or process mark practically all the time. Question 2. Right. So as soon as you see the word density, think about this is the marriage arch, and I remember that David Beckham married Victoria. That's the formula. So we have the density, we want to work out the mass. So mass equals D times V. How can we find the volume? Well, we know the volume of a cube body is 5 times 8 times 12. I know you can do that on the calculator, but do put your working out down. That's 480. So M is going to equal 0.7 times 480. I'm going to double check the units of measurements are the same. They are, so we don't need to do any conversions. That could happen, times 0.7, and that's 336, and that will be grams, and that's another 3 marks in your pocket. Okay, question 3, you have something about height and sunflowers of frequency. Work out an estimate of the mean for the height of sunflowers. Right, so you've got a range of 90 to 100. There's 8 sunflowers here. So that means you just use the middle number of this, which is 95. This is 105, 115, 125 and 135. Okay. So all we do here is 8 times 95, 12 times 105, 15 times 115, 10 times 125, and 3 times 135. Work all that out on a calculator. So this right here is worth a method mark. Double check the total. They have told us it's 48, so it's 48. So the mean is going to be this total divided by 48. I want to see this working out written down to guarantee your method marks. And that's 112.5. Look if your answer makes sense within this range of information. It makes sense. So you haven't made a calculator error. There you go. And make it easy for the examiner. Just write that right there. That will get you your 4 marks. I do not want to just see answers there. That's a 4-mark question. Okay, this is simultaneous equations, and this should be 4 marks every day of the week. You should be able to check your answer by substituting your answers in the end to the formula, and if it equals, then you know you're correct. If it doesn't, you need to try the question again. Don't throw away 3 or 4 marks. Right, so I'm going to multiply this second one by 2 to match the coefficients of y. Now I've written a note here. If the signs are different, then you add them. The minus and plus, the signs are different, you add them together to cancel it out. And if the signs are the same, you subtract. That's just a good little tip for you to get these right. So we're going to add it. That's why I've got the plus signs above. So we're going to get 7x equals, that will cancel, and that's your method mark there if you do that correctly. Now a plus and a minus makes a minus. I've got my 0.5 here, and so that's going to be 31.5. So divide by 7. It's going to be 4.5. Here on the calculator paper, you're always going to get a decimal type answer. So x equals 4.5. Now let's sub this into 1. Sub into 1. So you're going to get 1 here. 4.5 plus 2y equals minus 0.5. So we're going to get 2y equals minus 5 because we're going to subtract by minus 4.5 and minus 4.5 here. So I know that y equals minus 2.5. Right, so this is the key point underlined. Let's just double check we haven't made a silly mistake. Let's try this in equation 2, see if it works. So x equals 4.5, so let's do 3 times 4.5. Right, check, so you get 4 marks. Minus, now you see y is minus 2.5 here, so it's minus 2.5. So that's 3 times 4.5, which is 9, 13.5. 2 minuses make a plus, plus 2.5 equals 16. Is that answer there? It is, so perfect. We know we've got that right. We're going to feel good about ourselves. We've got a guaranteed 3 marks right there. Some more marks in your pocket. Question 5. Lionel bought a boat. Depreciates means it goes down in value. So if you're doing the compound interest, remember 100% is the same price. It's going down by minus 8%. So we're going to get 92%. Divide that by 100. So as a decimal, that is 0.92. So that's 2016. To 2019, we've got £170,000. That's 3 years, so we just need to do 170,000 times 0.92 to the power of 3, because that's 3 years. And it says give your answer correct to the nearest pound. So do be careful. Don't lose a mark there. But do your working out, get your method marks here, That's your second method mark or process mark. So that to the nearest pound, it's going to round up to 132,377 for a nice easy 3 marks. So we've got some information about a time taken for 80 taxi journeys. Keyword cumulative frequency. So from 0 to 5, the answer is 7. So from 0 to 10, we add those two numbers. 17. We should get a total of 80 at the end. So what's 17? Add 12 now, because it's 0 to 15. That's 29. 48. 66 and 80. That should be your 1 mark in your pocket. On the grid provided, draw a cumulative frequency graph for your table. Okay, so where's the grid? Okay, I've got to remember these numbers and I'm going to plot these points. So for time and speed, I've just marked each point. You do that at the end point. At the end point, the line should be smooth at the end. Most cumulative frequency graphs will all look like that, so this looks fairly straightish, but do use smooth curves. And that's an easy 2 marks. It should start from 0 as well, because it goes from 0 to 5. If it started from 5, then you start at 5 and don't join it to 0. Use your graph to find an estimate of the median. So you should be doing this. So there's 80. So what's half of 80? 40. I want to see people doing this dotted line because that's worth a method mark. And let's go down. And that looks like 17.5 to me. I'm going to write 17.5. Now, in the mark scheme, they accept an answer between 17 and 19. So, even with my bad line, I'm correct. Use your graph to find the estimate for the interquartile range. So, IQR. What is IQR? Is the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. So what's the upper quartile? Will be at 60. So do another dotted line. Use your ruler. Okay, do a better dotted line than me. So that looks like and actually I'm just going to check this scale. So each 2 squares is worth 1. So that's me being careless, double check. So that is 19. So I would have got 18.5 there, and that's still acceptable as an answer. So I'm going to say 2 squares is worth 1. That looks in between, so that's 24. So we're going to get 23.5 here, minus the lower quartile. That's 10, 11. Let's just call that 12. And so that equals 11.5 minutes. And they accept a wide range of answers for the upper quartile range. For the upper quartile, they will set 22 to 24. And the lower quartile, 11 to 13. So you should really ace that for sure. Now, question 7, calculate the length of PR give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. So first thing you should think, any type of triangle question, is it right angled? If it is, use Trig or Pythagoras. This is not right angled. Okay, so we need to, because I normally tell you, or do a little square. So we need to use a sine rule or cosine rule. So I've written the cosine rule down here. And this is the sine rule. Now the sine rule, if they gave us an extra angle here to match one of these sides, we could find PR using the sine rule. But we do not have an extra angle, so we have to use a cosine rule. We've got 2 sides and a missing angle. So let's just make this easy. So if we call this A, that's the angle, then that side is little a. So this is little b, doesn't matter which one's the B and C. So this is big B, big C, but we don't need to use that, we're just going to use this. We're finding a missing side, so we can use this one because we've got the A squared. If you're finding the missing angle, then this is the formula you would use, and this formula is just this formula rearranged. Alright, but I don't want to go too much in detail into that one. So let's just substitute now. So we're trying to find A squared, so A squared equals B squared, which is 17.8 squared. Just write this information down for your method mark. Minus 2 times 17.8 times 26.3 cos 36. Work that out on your calculator. It says the 3 significant figures, so round your answer to like 2 or 3 decimal places, you should be correct. Put that all in a calculator correctly. So I'm going to show you using the calculator. Make sure it's showing degrees on your calculator. If it's not, get your teacher to fix it, because you'll get a incorrect, well, you won't get an incorrect answer, you'll get an answer in a different form, which will not be appropriate for this. Okay. Minus, and I'm just going to do that all in a bracket. You shouldn't have to, but three, and all right, times cos, yeah, it does the cos 36 for us like that, and let's do that. Press equals. Yeah, that answer looks like it's going to make some sense. So A squared is 251.064 to 3 decimal places. 0.064. 0.64. So we know A is going to be between, well, no, over 15, 15.7 or something like that if we square root. So square root the answer. And I could just square root the answer from here, but do write that down. Square root answer. So it's going to be as accurate as possible. That says 15.84 to 2 decimal places. Now 3 significant figures, that's 1, 2, 3, so it's going to be 15.8. And that size seems feasible, so I've done things correctly. 8. We've got a trapezium here, it's a right angled one. It says calculate the perimeter, so this is the outside of the whole shape. Everything in blue here. So, got to use a bit of problem solving skills. can make that a rectangle here. This is going to be a right angle. So I know this bit is 21.2. Now I need to know this side and this side. Right, but we need a side length, but can you see it's a rectangle, so this is 16.7. So let's just draw this here. We're going to use this angle 43. No need to do anything snazzy to work out this angle. Just use this exactly like so. So if we want to find out, this is the hypotenuse and this is the adjacent. This is the opposite. Now, the adjacent is not going to give us any information, so I'm just going to cross that out for now. And we've got O and H, so we should know that's SOH. Right, so we have sine the angle 43 equals O over H, so O, the opposite is 16.7. So we need to find the hypotenuse, so we need to times by H and move it to the side, so we're going to get H equals, so essentially if you cover this you can see the hypotenuse, we're finding the hypotenuse is opposite over the sine of the angle instead of having to rearrange it, so just a bit quicker. So opposite is 16.7 divided by sine 43. Okay, let's do that on our calculator. 16.7 divided by sine 43. Says it's 24.48. I'm going to use the figure rounded up to 3 decimal places. 24.487. Okay, that gives us that. I'm going to still use the 16.7 to find out the adjacent. That's 16.7. We have 43 here. Right, we've got this answer. We've got this answer anyway, so we have this, good. But we're just going to use this again. So what do we have here? This is the adjacent. This is the hypotenuse. Cross that out. That's the opposite. So we have O and A. So we should know we use TOA. TOA. Right, to go for speed, so what are we looking for? We're looking for A, right? So if I put my hand over the A, then A equals O over T. So A equals 16.7 over tan 43. That just saves you rearranging the formula. So A equals 17.91. That's fine. So we can see we've got 17.91 here, 24.487 there. We don't need to add that up. So how many marks is this? 4 marks. So I can do another bit of working. I'm going to zoom out a bit. So we're going to get, this is our working out, 21.2, add 21.2, add 16.7, add 24.487, add 17.91. What is that going to equal? $21.2 add And I'm just going to use all the numbers I found and then round it to 3 significant figures at the end. That's 101.497, 101.497. So the 3 significant figures is the 1 and 1, so it equals 101 centimeters. So you should be very happy with that. That's an easy 4 marks, and you can work this out. Question 9. Do read the question more than once. Right, you've got 30 students. The mean mark in the test for the 30 students was 26.8. 13 of the 30 students in the class are boys. The mean mark for the boys is 25. Find the mean mark for the girls. Well, we can find the total marks by doing 30 times 26.8. 30 times 26.8 equals the total marks. Let's zoom back in. Okay. 30 times 26.8. That should be a whole number because it's marks. That's 804. 804 equals not trademark but total marks. Just so you understand what's going on. So the boys got 13 because there's 13 boys times 25 marks. 13 times 25. That's 250. 325. Right. You'll be surprised because you're tired. You could make simple calculation errors, so do check it out, even if you've got good mental maths. Okay, that's perfect. So these are the boys' marks. Boys TM. So the girls' marks, the total girl marks must equal 804 minus 325. That's 479. Now, I haven't told you how many girls there are, but you can tell if there's 13 boys, there are 17 girls. So we just need to do 479 divided by 17. Remember to do it to 3 significant figures. 479 divided by 17 equals... Do press the SD button, because can you see that's reoccurring up to there, so lots of numbers reoccurring there, so we just want to round that. That's 28, oop, I lost it, 21.176, 6, so to 3 significant figures. That's 3 decimals, so 3 significant figures, that's 28.2 to 3 significant figures. There you go, girls. That's girl power there. You are greater than the boys in the maths test. This was 100% a maths test. Good work. Well, that's a nice easy 3 marks. I can feel that you can really get a grade 7 or 8 very easily. Okay, question 10. Similarity. I do love similarity questions. And it's going to be easier, even easier if it's on a calculator paper. Base A has height 24, base B has height 36. Let's just draw on these things, diagrams to help us. 24, 36. Okay, base A has a surface area do the square surface area, work out the surface area of base B. So let's get our 1 mark, find the scale factor from here to here. So the scale factor is going to equal 36 divided by 24. That's 1.5. And you could do this on a non-calculator. If this was on a non-calculator, 1.5, I think it is 3/2. If you have to square that later, you just square both numbers, right? So that's going to be 9/4. Right, so length scale factor equals 1.5. So area scale factor equals 1.5 squared. And that's the same as 15 times 15, put the decimal point back, so that's 2.25. So you actually can do that without a calculator. This should be on a non-calculator exam. Anyway, alright, so surface A has got that surface area, so we just need to do 960 times 2.25. Just have your working out, and then do the rest on the calculator. Two 2160. Easy 2 marks there, right? And girls, do make sure your numbers are legible to your examiner, because some girls write 4s or 2s that look like 5s and 4s that look like 7, and it's really just annoying. Well, not annoying, it's not your fault, but you could lose marks if the examiner misreads it. Base B is a volume of V. Find in terms of V an expression for the volume of base A. So you got base B. Now the length scale factor was 1.5, so the volume scale factor equals 1.5 cubed. So let's just do that. 27/8, 3.375. I've just written both there because I don't know which one I'm going to use. So from base at B, the volume is V, and to base A, well, this way you times, right? So this way we've got to divide. So base VA should equal V, because that's the volume, over 3.375. Or if you just want to keep it as fractions, you are dividing, so it's going to be 8/27 V, because you keep change flip, but this is more than adequate. Another easy 2 marks. Ooh, let's see, distance time graph. These are actually very easy depending on the wording. So let's look at this question. On a journey to the park, so this is a cycle to the park here. She stopped at her friend's here. Oh no, she's not at the park. She stopped at her friend's here and then completed the journey to the park. So on the journey to the park, did Jelena cycle at a faster speed before or after she stopped at her friend's house? I've taught thousands of different students in very multicultural schools, and I've never taught a Jelena, so I do wonder where they get these names from. Anyway, that's going off on a tangent. So how are you going to know what speed is faster? Well, if this is distance and time, you know it's speed, distance and time, right? So you've got to just do distance divided by time to find the speed, which is in this instance the gradient. So that is 1 hour here and 15 here. So part 1 is 15 kilometers per hour. km per hour. And then this. Right, so 3 squares. Well, is it 4 squares per hour? So an hour is 60 minutes. 4 squares, it's 15. So that's 45 minutes for 3 squares. Now you've got to do that as a fraction of an hour. So that's 3/4, okay? What's this? This is 15 to 24. So that's 3/4. Do not use 45. And what's 24 divided by 3/4? Not 34, 3/4. That's going to be 24 times 4 divided by 3, but if you've got a calculator, might as well use it. Divided by 3, use a fraction button here. Don't want to do that. Use an arrow. That's 32. Now, can you see I made a mistake here? That's not 24, it's 24 minus 15. So that answer doesn't make sense because that gradient would be steeper then. So here we go. That's 9. So let's sack that off. 9 divided by 3/4. That's 36 divided by 3. That's answer's going to give us 12. And that would make sense because that gradient doesn't look as steep. So first part, oh, it's not first part, it's faster before. So faster before, answer in the context of the question. Give a reason, because speed was 15 kilometers per hour, which is greater than 12 kilometers per hour. Or you could say the gradient's steeper. That should be acceptable. But anyway, that's an easy 1 mark. Okay. Jelena stayed at the park for 45 minutes. She then cycled without stopping at a constant speed of 16 kilometers from the park to her home. Okay, 45 minutes we worked out before, that's 3 squares. Perfect, she's not going anywhere. So 16 kilometers per hour from the park back to her home. So constant speed at 16. So we need to work out what 16 is as a negative gradient going home. So 16 kilometers per hour. Actually, does it ask us to draw this? I've not even read the question. Okay, 16 kilometers per hour. Back to her home. So if that's at 24. It's 4 squares for an hour. So that's going to go down by 16. 24 minus 16 is 18. No, 24 minus 16 is 8, I mean. So that will be there. And then you should be able just oh, this is one I'd really like to have a ruler tool, because this could look a bit messy. And use your ruler, that would be perfect, right? Because that gives you your 16 there. So that will get you the marks if you didn't use the ruler. That's your 2 marks. Okay, do not include the times when she was not cycling in your calculations. Right, so we've got to look at the graph again. I'm going to change colour to pink. Sorry, I'm going to read the question again. Or the complete journey to the park and back. Right. Well, that was 15. That part was 15. That was 9. And 24, 16. Right, so I'm going to work out 15 at 9. There's other ways you can do this. And the way home was 24. Was it kilometres? And she did it 16 kilometres per hour. So that would have taken her 1.5 hours on the way home. We need to find total time. So we've got 1.5 hours. I'm pretty sure this was 1 hour. And I said 3/4 of an hour, right? So I'm going to write this here. This speed was 1 hour. That was 45 minutes, which is 3/4. And that journey home was 1.5 hours. So let's add up the total time in hours. (2.5) add 7.5. Well, 2.5 add 0.75. That's equals 3.25 hours. Okay, that's going to get us a method mark for sure. So I should have made this clear that obviously speed, the average speed, S dt is going to be the total distance divided by the total time. That's why we're working out the time. And we need to now work out the distance. Now, how can we work out the distance without doing anything complex? Well, the distance she travelled was 24 metres there and back, so that's 48. 48 divided by 3.25. Equals 192 over 13. Just to 1 decimal place. That's easy enough. That's 14.8. Yeah, that's our 3 marks. I was trying to find an easier way to do it, but this is how you do that question essentially. Now, just want to remind you there is an easier way to find the total time, because if this graph was clear, this line was clear, you could see the add up the times from here to here when she's moving essentially. And the total distance, well, it's 24 there and back, so 48. And that's all you need to do, so that's actually an easier way to do it. What's question 12? Change the speed of x kilometers per hour into speed in meters per second. Okay, so we've got x is in kilometers per hour. So per hour means per hour like this. I want it in meters per second. Now we want to convert that to x meters per second, which is meters per second, right? Meters per second. Okay, and that -1, that's just another notation for it. So let's just think about it. That's kilometers, we want to turn it into meters. So how many meters in a kilometer? Well, it's 1,000. So you're going to x times 1,000, and hours to seconds. Well, 1 hour equals 60 seconds times 60, because that's 60 minutes in an hour. 60 seconds makes a minute, so that's 3,600. And then simplify that, which your calculator will do that for you. Do that, use the fraction button, equals 5/18, done. Easy 3 marks there. Okay. Oh, I don't know why I zoomed out. Okay, so that's your clear working out here. Question 13. I zoom out for space to do some calculations. Okay, 13. You've got a cuboid. The length of AB, the length of BC, the length of CF, 4, 2 to 3. So we're just going to use these as real lengths. AB is 4. BC is 2. And CF is 3. Calculate the size of the angle between AF and the plane ABCD. So that's the plane ABCD here. I'm not going to show that in, and we want this angle going up to F. So we want the plane, essentially. Ooh, can I show you that? Boom. 3D trig. Now I've seen these types of questions asked about the diagram, so you've got the diagram, so it's really easy. So let's do, we need to find this triangle here, right? This length here. So I'm going to do this so you can see what's going on. That's ABC. That's 4, that's 2. That's the longest side. That's C. I'm just going to C1 because that point is C. So we know that's Pythagoras, so first step is 4 squared add 2 squared equals C squared. It's 16 plus 4, so 20 equals C squared. C equals the square root of 20. Let's just use that as a third. That's 4, 2 root 5, yep, 2 root 5. So that's 2 root 5. Ooh. You can leave it as root 20 as well. Okay, so now we're going to get a new triangle. Now we've got the triangle ACF. ACF. Now A to C is 2 root 5, right? 2 root 5, and we want this angle here. Now we need another length, but we've got FC is 3. But we've got the hypotenuse, adjacent, opposite. We do not need the hypotenuse, let's delete that so you don't get confused. So we use TOA, TOA. So I'm going to call that x, so tan x equals 3 over 2 root 5. So we want to use a calculator. So we're just going to inverse tan 3 over, I'm just going to use root 20 here. Equals, was it 1 decimal place? 33.9. 33.9 degrees. Let's write that here. Oh, that's nice and easily done. Right, I've just calculated that if you've got the first 13 questions correct, the first 13 full marks, that's 49 marks, that's your grade 7 in your pocket. You're well on your way to grade 8, and you can see all of that is achievable. You can do this. You can do this. So I want 7 to be your minimum grade you're going for, because I know you can do it. And if you revise and practice, you can. Okay, look at this. We've got triangles. Are there right angles? No right angles. So no right angles. So we've got to use a sine or cosine or at some point. Oh, we've got the area of a triangle. Ooh. Well, I know the area of a triangle is this. So this is the area of the triangle formula. They've given us this fact 250 here. And we want the area of the whole quadrilateral. Well, we need some lengths here, right? We need a length, some of these lengths here to do this, right? To help us out a bit. But they've given us this, so let's use this. That's 250. Now it's sine C, so if we're going to call this C, this is little c. Ignore the letters here, we can just label it ourselves. So that must mean, let's call this A, and let's call this B. So let's substitute, we've got, or just to make it easier, we can call that length AC. So we've got a half AC, that's that length, times 26 times sine 39. Okay, so let's write this here, 250 equals, let's just simplify that, half times 26, 13 AC, I'm going to put that line because that's just not two letters, times sine 39. So you should know what to do, right? Multiply 13 by sine 39 and divide it by 250. So 250, just going to do it one by one, divided by 13 equals this. Now divide the answer by sine 39, and let's call that 30.56. So So AC equals 30.56. That's 30.56 to 2 decimal places. So I'm just drawing this triangle out here. So we've got 30.56. Now, to work out this area, we need to use this half AB sine C formula. So we need another length. Okay, we've got C here. Actually, these letters work nicely now. That's B and that's little a. Okay, so we need to find A. So remember the sine rule. A over sine A equals B over sine B equals C over sine C. Okay, so we've got this. We're going to use this as B's now. So we've got 30.56 over sine 95 equals, so we do need another length. So arguably you can use any length. This is a triangle, so we can find the missing angle here. So it depends what length you want to find, but I think I am going to find A. So we've got A. So A, little a over sine what? Okay, so it's sine what, but got a triangle there. So what's 180 minus 95 minus 47? Let's just check that out. Yeah. Not worth making a silly calculation error. So I'm just going to use a calculator. 38. That is wonderful. That's 38. So we just multiply by sine 38. So sine 38 times 30.56 over sine 95 equals A, which equals sine 38 times 30.56 sine 95 equals 18.89. Wonderful. Then we can use the area equals a half AB sine C. So let's have a nice line of working out here. Area equals 0.5 times 18.89 times 30.56 times sine 47 yeah, apologies for the writing being all over the place. This is so you can see it on your phones clearly, and it's just do all that on the calculator. 0.5 times 18.89 times 30.56 times sine 47 equals 211.1. 211.121 dp. Because yeah, the only one she answers the three significant figures. And what's the question asking? Calculate the area of the quadrilateral ABCD. So that's the whole thing. So your final bit of working is 250 add 211.1. That's 1. Okay, 461 to three significant figures. So that's just going to be 461. That is a nice 6 marks. God, if you've got that, that's your grade 8 practically achieved. Can you do that? It is doable. So y is directly proportional. If it's indirect, it's over. So what do we need to write? It's the q of x. So we've got y equals kx cubed. That's the constant of proportion k. So when y equals 20h, you've got algebra in this one now to try and make it a bit more challenging, but it's okay, no problem at all. We're just going to put the letters in. So 20h equals kx cubed when x equals h. So we're just going to swap that as well. So that's 20h there. Got that. So 20h is going to equal kh cubed. Not a big deal. We can cancel out. Divide by hq to find out k. So we're going to get 20 over h squared equals k. So we just need to, I'm going to draw an arrow here, substitute this back in to the original formula we made up here. So y equals 20x cubed over h squared. Find a formula for y in terms of x and h. Well, we've done that. That's 3 marks. So don't get confused. Use your normal skill. Just put the letters in. Now find x in terms of h when y equals 67.5h. So let's just start writing this down. Y equals 20x cubed over h squared. When y equals 67, so y equals 67.5h equals 20x cubed over h squared. Okay. So essentially we're just making x the subject. That's what this is. This is what this question is asking. So it's a slightly different proportion question. It's changing the subject with proportion. Skills are the same though. So we times out by h squared. It's in its simplest form. So anyway, we're just going to do 67.5h divided by 20 and we're going to times by h squared. Because you're going to times by h squared first, get rid of h squared and divide by 20 to get left with x cubed. Correct? So we're going to get what's 67.5 over 20. (27 over 8). Okay, that looks nice to simplify. So we've got 27 over 8 h cubed equals x cubed. So what do we need to do now? I'm going to write this over here. Now I wanted to do this so we can get nice easy numbers. Okay, we're going to cube root both sides. So remember, we're cube rooting 27h cubed, the whole thing, right? And when we cube root x cubed, we're going to get x. Oh, I don't know why I've started to write sideways. Okay, so what's the cube root of 27? That's 3, right? The cube root of h is h. So we're going to get 3. Let's cube root each section. 3. Cube root of h is h. What's the cube root of 8? 2. Equals x. Ooh. Equals x. Let's see if I can. Yeah, so when you're doing this, you're essentially cube rooting the 27 and the h cubed, and then you're cube rooting the 8 as well when you're doing the whole thing. So what's 3 over 2h? Well, it should be fine writing it like that, or that's just 1.5h. Okay, 16. Right, so the plane face of the hemisphere coincide with the upper plane face of the cylinder. That just means these connect with each other. They have the same radius. Well, that should be self-evident. Now we've got the volume of a sphere here. They've given us the volume of a cone. There's no cone in this, so we could ignore that. The ratio of the radius of the cylinder to the height of the cylinder is 1 to 3. So I'm just going to call that 1. That's 1 to 3 basically. That's the ratio, but the radius is obviously not 1. Okay. But all you need to know, I think you probably get a method mark for just writing this down. R equals 3h. Oh, not R equals 3h, because that means the radius is 3 times the height. That's a common misconception, so don't do that. R equals h over 3. Now let's see if that makes sense. How can I explain that? Because people do get confused by that. Well, it's easy enough, right? If r is 1 here, we multiply by 3. Because h is 3 times r. Right, so that's why. Right, because this can't be right, because if r is, just say 6 here, h is 2, and that's a third of the answer. So do double check that to see if your equation makes sense. That's probably why that gives you a method mark. Yeah, 1 mark. So the whole solid has this volume. So all we need to write for probably another method mark is 4 over 3 pi r cubed plus that's half a sphere, so that's a half times that, plus what's the volume of the cylinder? Well, that's 1r, that's going to be 3r. So what's the volume? of a cylinder. That's 3r times pi r squared. The v of a cylinder equals the height of it times pi r squared, right? Equals 792 pi. Now we've got pi in both, all the terms, so we divide out by pi. What we're going to get is 4 over 6 r cubed. Going to divide out both sides by pi. Plus 3r cubed equals 792. Right, what's 4, 6 add 3? You can do this without a calculator. But 4, 6 is a third, right? Add 3. That's going to be 11 over 3. I probably want to keep that as a fraction. R cubed, those are like terms, equals 792. So let's divide out by 11 over 3. Because we want exact numbers. So R cubed is going to be 792 divided by 11 over 3. 216, yeah, so we're going to get a really nice number for R, and that should be 6, so I equals 6 cube root that. We don't know how to do that. Answer, that's a shift here, 216 is 6. R equals 6, so if R equals 6, I equals 6, H is going to be 18 because it's 3 times. Oh, well, that's the answer. Oh, that's 5 marks. That's 18. Wait up, what's the final question? Work out the height of the whole solid. Well, that's the height of the cylinder, is 18. So you understand, this bit is 18. Now the radius is going to be the same there, but we know the radius is 6. So H equals 18. Height of the whole solid is going to be 18. Plus 6 equals 24. That's done. Okay, hopefully we're almost done, but you know, you can see grade 9 is achievable, but I would not advise overdoing it, going for your grade 9, because you've got other exams to prioritise. A grade 8 is going to really just look good. Right, so question 17 is circle theorems, class. Right, I have got to go over circle theorems with you. So what I'm going to do is put the answer in here, because this video is extra long, so I've done extra explanations and showing you how I would use a calculator, so you don't have calculator mistakes. I'm going to zoom out of this, and I am going to try and make a separate video of circle theorems exam questions to really help you build up to this skill. So there's more than one way to do this, guys, but angle ABD equals 71 and angle ACD equals 71, alternate segment theorem, base angles of isosceles are equal. Okay, that's why angle ADB equals 71. Now angle BAD must be 38 because it's the angles in the triangle, 180. Now the opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral sum to 180. So 180 minus 38 is 142. There's multiple ways to do this, but I am going to teach you circle theorems if you want to go for grades 8 to 9, but we do need to focus on, you know, getting the first 14 questions right, and that's your grade 7, or first 16, and your grade 7 is achieved. Okay, I'm gonna do question 18 now. Have a read of that, pause the video. Okay, so this question is a quadratic simultaneous equation, because you think you've got this line y equals 9 minus x, that's going to just say, look, something like that. The other curve is going to be a quadratic like this, and it's going to connect at 2 points. Yeah, that's a curve. You can see that's a quadratic because the highest power is a squared. So we're going to use some substitution here and use y equals 9 minus x to sub into this line here. So do be careful here, because you can make some negative number errors, expanding brackets errors, and all sorts, because you've got to do lots of expansion. So first step is, I'm going to just do this at the side here to make sure I get that. 9 times 9 is 81. We're going to get minus 9x minus another 9x, and negative x times negative x is going to give us a plus x squared. So that's going to be 81 minus 18x plus x squared. Right, so let's just expand this first. 27x. Now negative times a negative is a positive, so that's a plus 3x squared. Do not make a mistake here. Plus 2. I'm going to write this out because I could just make a silly mistake in a bit. So, and it's worth doing just so you can make sure you hit some method marks. 2 times 81, 162. Positive times a negative, make sure that's a minus 36x plus 2x squared. Now, this is all going to equal 0, right? Oh. I'm just going to use a red pen here to block out that working out. Okay, so that's, now let's simplify that. That's going to give us 6x squared, x squared, add 3x squared, add 2x squared, minus 27 minus 36. Use a calculator if you're kg of your negative numbers. That's minus 63x plus 162 equals 0. Now, we can simplify this by dividing it all out by 3. 3 goes into all of that. So then we get 2x squared minus 21x plus 54 equals 0. Now you could factorise this or just use a quadratic formula. So what's that? Minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So you can use a quadratic formula, but you can factorise this, I believe. Yeah, let's try. Anyway, we're going to get 2x, and x, 54, and we've got to get minus 21. So it's got to have two negative numbers. Oh, wait up. So factors of 54. 6, 9, 2, 27. It's got to be 6 and 9, right? 2 times minus 9 is going to give us minus 18. No, so let's make that 6. Maybe easier just to use a quadratic formula, guys. Yeah, minus 12x minus another 9x is going to give us that minus 21. 9 times minus 6 is going to give us that 54, and now we've got that 2x squared there. Aha, perfect. So we know, let's solve that. I know sometimes you guys get confused. We want that bracket to equal 0 to make it equal 0, because 0 times anything is 0. So we've got the answer x equals 6. Solve this, because I've seen so many of you make mistake on finding solution to this part. So that's going to pick us lots of marks. We've got y equals 9 minus x. So sub those values in. So when x equals 0, y equals 9. So one of the coordinates is 0, 9. When x equals 4.5, y is going to equal 4.5. So that's the other coordinate. Oh yeah, and we've shown clear algebraic working, and they've done that there. Wait, what am I doing when x equals 0 here? That's my, so when x equals 6, so ignore that, x equals 6, 9 minus 6 equals 3, x equals 6, y equals 3, 6 and 3. So even if I make that little error at the end, you would have just lost 1 mark. Not the end of the world. And that is doable. Room for some calculation errors there. But you can hit some method marks there, definitely. Right, this is going to be an extra long video. So bear with me. You're doing well, guys. Okay, this is the final question on this paper, and it's a probability one. This is it's a challenging one because you've got to use a bit of algebra. Let's see how many marks this is first. 5 marks. Sorry about that. Right, Hannah has a bag that only contains yellow sweets and orange sweets. Hannah takes at random 2 sweets from the bag. The probability that Hannah takes exactly 1 yellow sweet from the bag is 12 out of 35. Okay. So that doesn't mean, that means that, what I mean is that's P yellow times P orange plus the option P orange first times probability of yellow equals 12 out of 35 on the tree. So there's 3 yellow sweets in the bag. We do not know how many sweets are in the bag. So let's use a letter to represent total sweets. Total sweets. Oh, I'll just use T for total sweets. Right. You could use S, but S looks too much like a 5 to me, and I know myself I'd definitely make a mistake if I use S, because I'll start seeing the number 5, not an S. So we know 3 over T is the probability of picking yellow first, right? 3 over T, we don't know the total sweets, times, so that's the P orange. So P orange, or orange must be, the number orange must be the total minus 3. So times T minus 3 over, there's 1 less sweet in the bag, remember? So that's why that's 2 minus 1. Okay, and then I'm going to do this. Plus, the probability of orange is T minus 3. That's orange first, times T, that's times picking yellow second, which would be 3 over T minus 1. That's got to equal 12 over 35. Okay, hope that makes sense, because if you think about a tree, you've got the yellow, orange, yellow, orange, yellow, orange. So exactly yellow once is orange, yellow, and yellow, orange. Now, shall we simplify that? Yep. I'm going to try and see what happens. Let's make that into a bracket. So that's 3t minus 3 over, let's just write t. I'm just going to keep it like this for now. You could expand it out. Plus 3t. Wait up. 3 times minus 3 is 9. 3t, yeah, minus 3 times 3 is 9 over t minus 1 equals 12 over 35. Right, we can combine that together. So we are going to combine all this. The denominators are the same, so that's going to be 6t minus 18 over, I'm just going to expand it out, t squared minus t equals 12 over 35. I'm going to multiply both sides by this. I would normally jump a step here if this was me, but I'm just going to show you every step so you know what's going on. Then you'll multiply out by 35. You need to do both terms. Remember, that's going to be in a bracket. So that's going to be 210t minus 35 times 18. Just use a calculator. Ooh. $630 equals 12t squared minus 12t. I'm going to bring everything to one side, so we get 0 equals 12t squared minus 210, so that's minus 2t plus 630. Now we can divide this all out by 6. I'm just going to put the line of working out here. So let's divide everything by 6 to make it easier. Or you can just use the quadratic formula here, guys. So we're going to get 2t squared (0 equals 2t squared). 2 divided by 6 equals minus 37t minus 105. Ooh, what's going on there? Okay, let's write that again. 0 equals 2t squared minus 37t minus 105. Now we can factorise that. Just going to go to the answer. 2t minus 7 t minus 15, or use a quadratic formula. So I know t equals 3.5, that's a total number, or t equals 15. Well, we know it can't be half a sweet, so t must equal 15. So total sweets. And what's the question asking us for the total amount of sweets? Oh, so the orange, well, there's 3 yellow sweets, so 15 minus 3, the answer is 12. Right, you can easily make a mistake on this algebra and expanding out, but you can hit some method marks here, right? So you have got room to make a few mistakes, but if you hit all those method marks, your grade 8 is in the bag. Grade 8 could be in the bag. But no pressure, girls. Grade 7 is still a great grade, considering what a challenging year this has been. Right, I hope that helps, and well done for sticking it through this long. This was a long video, but I tried to do some extra explanation for some more challenging questions here.